Hi guys, so here we are, it's week 6 already. We've been through Chesed, loving kindness, flow, unconditional giving, Gevura, strength, channeling, focus, Tiferet, harmony, balance, beauty, Netzach, which means overcoming, discipline, perseverance, pushing through, Hod last week, gratitude, submission, adaptability, and now here we are at Yesod. So Yesod actually means foundation. A foundation is something that is under the ground. You don't necessarily see it, but it's what's holding up the whole structure. So we need to really ask ourselves, what is the foundation of my life? What do I believe in? What are my values? What are my needs? What's actually driving everything I do? And a question that we can really ask from that is, where do those things come from? Where do my beliefs come from? Many different people and religions and societies and philosophies have a different idea of what the purpose of life is, what the world is all about, what we're doing here. So we can ask ourselves really, why do I believe what I believe? How do I know what I know? How do I know that I'm living in the right way? So the second thing we also need to ask ourselves is, am I actually living according to my beliefs and according to my values? This is a big idea on Justify education, that we often have good values, but we're not necessarily living those values. So I might value my health very much, but if I'm not going to the gym and I'm smoking and I'm not eating healthy food, I'm not actually living according to my values. So this idea of Yesod is really understanding, what is my foundation, what are my principles, what am I living for? What do I believe life is all about? Asking ourselves then why do I believe those things? What is the basis and the foundation for my beliefs? And then, am I actually living that in a proper way and relating to the world in an appropriate way? So I haven't spoken about this before, but each of the character traits and these energies are related to a person in the Torah. So Chesed, loving kindness, is Abraham, and Gevura, Yitzhak, and Tiferet was Yaakov, Netzach was Moshe, Hod is Aaron HaKohen, and Yesod is Yosef, Joseph. Yosef is called a tzaddik, Yosef a tzaddik, which means a completely righteous person. And he's the only person actually in the Torah who has the name tzaddik connected to him, Yosef a tzaddik. And what really is a tzaddik? A tzaddik is someone who's totally clarified life and interacts and acts in appropriate way. So he's clarified his foundation, what he's doing here, what his beliefs are, and he acts according to them in the world. He's taking his values and he's making sure he's really living by them. So Yosef was called a tzaddik for one of two reasons. The first one was that when he was seduced by his master's wife, he managed to not go there, managed to be strong. And the second one was, he really had the best opportunity ever to be able to say to his brothers, I told you so. When he was young, he had a dream and that they were going to bow down to him. He shared the dream and they all laughed at him and teased him and eventually sold him. But many years later, when they came down to Egypt and he was the viceroy of Egypt, they did bow down to him. So he had a chance then to say, I told you so. And he didn't, because he had this belief that everything in his life happened for a reason and happened from Hashem, from God. God put all the situations in his life for him to grow and learn from. So when his brothers came, he didn't blame them, because he saw the world based on this belief that this had to happen. It was a good thing that I got sold into slavery, so I'm not going to blame them. There's an idea that often we believe based on what we see. So if we see something happening, that forms our beliefs. In Judaism, that works obviously in the empirical world in many ways, but also we see based on what we believe. I believe that this is meant to happen. I believe this is for the best. I believe this is what's going to help me most in my life. Therefore, I see the world in a different way. I see the world through eyes of faith, maybe emunah. I can see that this is what I'm meant to be doing in my life. So this is what a tzaddik really is, and this is what we're aiming for. Another idea of Yesod is an idea of bonding and connection. So in the tree of Kabbalah, where all these energies are, Yesod is at the bottom, And it's basically combining all these higher emotional, spiritual energies, loving kindness and strength, and it's bringing them down more into reality and forming an actual system that we can use these emotional attributes in a positive way and relate to the world in a positive way. Now, we're really made up of three main things, apart from our bodies, which is our thoughts, our speech, and our action. Thoughts, speech, action. So our thoughts really is a lot about our beliefs and our values and our needs. Our speech is how we express that in the world, and then our actions is what we really do. And we have to make sure that those are congruous, that they're all working together, that I do based on what I believe. I say what I mean what I say. Because I find often in my life, I do things and then I realize, hold on, why did I do that? That's not in line with what I really believe and what I want to do in the world. Or I say things that I don't believe, or I say things and then I don't do them. So Yesod is this idea of having these foundations of thought, speech and action and using them in the correct way and bring them down in the correct way and acting how I'm meant to be acting in life. So this idea also, as I said before, is bonding and connection. I want to connect the spiritual and the intellectual world and emotional world into the physical world and make sure I'm really living according to these values. And that's what we're going to do. And we really want it also, this idea of bonding is one of our big needs in life, to connect to other people. How am I going to connect to other people in the best way? What am I going to say to them? What am I going to think about them? It's this idea of always thinking the best, finding the good in other people, saying words that are going to uplift other people all the time, and doing actions that are going to help other people. This is how it fits into social justice. Because Yesod, our foundation, is this ability and this desire to connect to people in the right way, in a positive way. So it means that all our thoughts and our speech and our actions are going to go towards building connections with other people and building connections with the world, once again based on solid foundational beliefs and values and needs. So this week it's really about looking into ourselves and saying, what do I believe in life? What are my values? What are my principles? How do I know those are true? And how am I going to actually bring that into the world? Am I living by those things? Why? So that I can connect to the world, so that I can connect to other people in a positive way. And it's about looking, how am I connecting to people? Am I connecting to people? Am I uplifting people? Am I bringing them down? How am I connecting to myself? How am I connecting to the people in the world? How am I connecting the world in general? So that's it for this week. I'll see you for the last one next week.